the Manalos.
It's like a military
Mr.
museum.
Pizarro.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are the Manalos from Oreo? Manalo.
Marami Manalos sa amin. Okay, this is the... Is I'm being surrounded by on the shoulder of all the giants. You are the giants in my life. Okay. You have given me all the solutions together. Kaya dito ko inalagay yung aking little.
Meron na kay
Alan Kamesa.
Si Arman.
Nakatira dyan mga 40 people.
This is the highlight of my career. When I was at the Navy Supply Corps school, they pulled me out of the school because I had to go to Diego Garcia right away. I was deep selected for my promotion. So I'm always happy with it. President Biden, I had a picture with him that cost me $100,000 to take it.
Oh my God! Wow!
Well, you can afford it.
But we should recognize his presence here.
Ewan ko kung nakasama kayo last year, di ba? Hindi na, yan ang gusto ni Ben.
Ito ang dapat na ilagay natin sa aking Villa Paraiso, remember?
Nalo tayo sa casino.
think she's eating.
Where's he at?
Probably eating.
Maybe we can hear something.
I think Ed wants to say something.
Are we telling stories?
Yeah.
I have
Anything,
two good
whatever.
stories.
Okay.
I want him to see you, Wendy.
You know, I joined the Navy in 1961. There are 21 of us. We went to boot camp in San Diego. And we were divided into three groups of 7. That makes up 21. After our training, we all got separated, went all over the United States. Some went to Annapolis in Maryland, some in Virginia, some in Florida. But I wound up on this USS Constellation, which is an aircraft carrier.
I'll talk.
I was a steward for 3 years. But when I went aboard the ship, I made third-class machinist mate. And I went to the engineering department, where I'm only the second Filipino in the engineering department. The rest are in supply, storekeeper, and mess management and things like that. You know, on board a carrier, you gotta be away from the shore to get rid of the trash, you know, in your spaces. So they passed the word, the fantail is now open. Go ahead and dump your trash. And this fireman was told to pick up the garbage and throw the trash. But what happened, he did throw the whole garbage can over the side because he said, throw the trash away. And we got back and said, you dumb shit. Why did you throw the trash can away? You're supposed to be empty the trash can. That's communication. Okay, other story. This happened in SEMA. Where's the exec? Commander Valerio is he's the executive officer in SEMA San Diego, in Teristica. In the electrical department, mostly electricians are Filipinos in there because they rewind the motors and it's all an electrical problem. What happened, there was a big motor, it got to be moved from one place to another. And moving this motor, you got to have an operator of the crane, you got to have 2 observers for safety, and 1 to direct the traffic. Anyway, as they moving this motor, a big one, and I noticed that something is falling apart on the crane. And finally, the safety observer yelled, "Ilag, umilag ka." But the other guys are American. They don't know what he's talking about. So what happened is, as a result of that, everybody got to go to a class. That when a group of people are together, when you are working on certain things, speak English. Don't speak the Tagalog because then they don't understand. But they didn't have the accident. It was okay.
All right, thank you very much. All right, clearly.
Naka-on yan.
Naka-on na.
The date is that we do this again and proceed this up to the highway because there's some food in it. I know you're hungry. Thank you. Where's Christine?
I'm here.
Christine, come on.
I gotta sit there.
Okay, we do have a lot of speakers, so we'll go ahead and Mr. Silverio first and then you. Okay.
I'm Sim Silverio. I'm the biographer of Tony Pizarro. So, convinced him, I tried to convince him for a long time to publish so that we can publish this story. But, he kept turning me down. So finally, he accepted it, and he mentioned that there were 14 of them in the family, and he was the youngest. And they have limited food. So when they eat, they share the food, start from the oldest to the youngest. So as the youngest, he was the last to eat. And since there were no food, he had to content himself with rice and coffee so that he can eat. So that's when I realized that, that was such a nice story and experience. And that should be the reason why they exert more effort to convince you to write the book. So we ended up publishing the book, and then when we bought the book, almost more than about 500. And then I'm sure that because of the thickness of the book, none of you, just a few of you had patience to read it. So I decided to convert the book into a video and audio video. That's why all you have to do is just watch it on TV and you'll watch the book. And then the problem is it's 6 hours long. So nobody has the patience to do that. So I came up with a 2-hour version. But it's still too long. So what we ended up is just a 22-minute version of the book that you can watch. Now, if you want to watch the book at home, all you have to do is enter the name Tony Pizarro in your YouTube channel, and you can watch it at your own leisure.
Oh, wow.
When you 10 to 20 minutes at a time until you finish it.
Wow.
But then some of the highlights of the book I realized is the fact that Tony never saw the picture of his mother. That was very unfair. Can you imagine growing up with no idea how your father looked like, how your mother looked like? And for me it was an injustice. It should not happen to any person. Tony had just to look at his aunt, and when they say, your mother looks like your aunt, and he would just imagine how his mother looked like. And then, during childhood, he was not neglected, but since he was the youngest, he had to fend for himself. He moved from one relative to another. And finally, when he joined the Navy, he wanted to be a doctor. But after first year, he found out that his father was struggling to even come out in his matriculation. So he decided for himself to join the US Navy. During the first day that they were the commissary, he was so happy because there's a lot of food in the Navy. It's like the best buffet. So finally he decided to get, after filling himself up, he got some ice cream for himself and tried to eat it. It turned out that the ice cream was mayonnaise. It was the ice cream that he thought it was. And then he heard the sergeant saying, okay, you have to finish your food. If you don't finish your food, you'll be sent back to the Philippines. He was so worried. So he had to finish the tub of mayonnaise, until eventually he had to go to the restroom, to throw up. And that was one experience. And of course, you mentioned about the incident of the boat turning around, going from one place to another. But first, when we landed in the United States, he saw a tall building. So he thought that in that very April, tall buildings are churches. So whenever he passed by tall buildings, he makes the sign of the cross. That was it. And then he didn't want to go near the telephone because when the telephone rings, he was afraid that he might get assigned to answering. So he made it to stay away from the telephone. There were a lot of interesting stories in the book, so I hope you can read it. I hope you can share it with your children, because the point is, the moral lessons and the inspiration that you will learn from it, it will inspire your children how to do it in life. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ali Mayo, and happy birthday to you, Tony. You know, Tony, Celso, and myself, and I probably few more of you here have something in common. That is Rancho Pinasquillas. I lived in Rancho Pinasquillas from 1975 to 1985 for 10 years. And I've been, driving through that road, Rancho Pinasquillas every day, back and forth, going to work, coming home. And let me tell you a little bit about how I got joined the U.S. Navy and became an officer. So I joined the U.S. Navy in 1969. I was 19 years old at the time. And after the boot camp, they sent me to the Steward Class A school. I was topping the class. They assigned me to work for an admiral. So what are the jobs of the stewards? Probably you haven't heard what are the jobs of the stewards. And these were my jobs, shine shoes of the admiral, shine his belt buckle, and put on his ribbons, and bring him to the laundry, also serve in the cooking, and serving the admiral and the wife, and things like that. One day, I was preparing for the admiral's uniform, and I was tempted to put on his uniform, so it's nice looking, the shoulder boards are all gold, they're so heavy. So I put on the uniform, and lo and behold, we did not know, the admiral came home and announced. And then he went into his room, and he saw another admiral in his room. And that was me, because I was wearing his uniform. And then, the admiral has a good sense of humor. Instead of reprimanding me, he said, son, if you want to become an officer, you need to have your college degree and then go to an officer's school program. And I looked at him almost crying because I thought he was going to kick me out and go home to the Philippines, wearing his uniform, impersonating an admiral, a recruit an admiral for the promotion, right? So after working during the day, I went to attended community colleges, Maryland, community colleges San Diego, and community colleges again over there. Before I know, I have almost gotten my college degree. When I got my college degree, I was already about 30 years old. And if you are going to apply for officers program, and if you are a prior enlisted, you make sure that you are within 33 years old before you get commissioned. So when I went for an interview, and the admiral that interviewed me looked at my bio and said, son, the age limit to become an officer, if you're prior enlisted, is 33 years old. And you're almost 33 years old. And then he opened more and said, oh my goodness, your transcripts, they're almost all A's. That's what he told me. Do you know how to use a typewriter? And I told him, well, yes, sir. I will dictate you your recommendation. So the admiral dictated to me this recommendation, and it goes this way. And I did not know that the admiral that interviewed me was a commanding officer of the Officers Cadet School program previously. So his recommendation to me started this way. In my capacity as a former commanding officer of the Officers Cadet School, I highly recommend, I was the first class at the time, hospital foreman, HM Mayo, to attend OCS as soon as possible to meet the age requirement criteria for graduation. I was interviewed in May. I got my approval in June. I started my officers cadet school training right away in July. And I didn't know that the admiral that interviewed me followed me through. And this was his parting words for me and with me before I left his office with him to interview me. Son, study like hell. I told him, yes, sir. And I didn't know that he followed my career when I went to OCS because he was kind of, I would say, concerned because I was a hospital foreman and the school that I was going to was a highly technical school. So on my graduation, there was a message that was related to the office that there is an admiral that wants to congratulate you on your graduation. And I know right away. And he said, I'm sorry I cannot take your graduation because of my commitment. But anyway, when I reported to my first duty station from OCS, lo and behold, the admiral came and, see me and congratulated me. That is a good story that, deep in my heart. If a person is really interested with you, he will keep up with you. And one of them is Tony. And you know why? Tony is very special to me too. We have something in common as well. Tony had the experience of member of the family had a stroke. My wife had a stroke in 2021, massive heart stroke. And my wife has been, pretty much bedbound. You know what? Tony calls me once a week. Tony, thank you very much, Tony. You've been calling me once a week. If I cannot pick up the phone, Tony will just leave a message on my phone saying, hello, Eddie. I just want to let you know that I'm thinking about you. Thank you very much, Tony. You're a good, a genuine, good-hearted man. A man of faith and a man of God. Thank you.
All right. Oh, thank you very much for that wonderful remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, I was asked if we could, because of what is happening in the Philippines, you probably see the news all over the media and what have you. So, Kuya Tony is asking if we could all please rise and if we could just have silence and have a prayer. And with that, can I ask somebody to lead the prayer? I'm sure somebody here would be able to lead the prayer much better than I have. Anybody who would like to lead the prayer for the Philippines and for everybody? Kita Rita. Would you? Who? Sino po? Sino po pwede mag-lead ng prayer? Sino po? Si Ping? Community for
Perhaps
a long
maybe,
time.
maybe it's a double reception that we did today. One is the meeting of the FAMUS, which is the Filipino-American Military Officers Association this morning. This afternoon is totally dedicated for all the second generation and third generation of our family. And the reason why is that's the reason why I built this museum right next door to this building. Nonetheless, I hope that by the time you leave the premises, that you have something that you learn from what I have done in my lifetime. And it's very, very humbling way, the way I look at it. In the way that I like to be remembered of my humility, my strength, and my wisdom. That's all I want to say this morning. Thank you.
Okay, with that said, I'm sure that you are familiar with what Kuya Tony has done for many, many, many years. Since 2000, when I started my DJing service, I had the opportunity to meet a lot of people. And one of the things that stuck in my mind was that Philippine Center. That was over 25 years ago. Well, with whatever reason, it did not happen, as you may know. About this year also, he had the same thought, the same idea. He said, why don't we go ahead and have a Philippine Center and we'll have all the organizations or what have you. And pardon my suggestion. This is my suggestion to Kuya Tony. I said, Kuya Tony, it's very, very complicated to have all the organizations involved building a Philippine Center. By experience, we know it's hard to do it. Because for the past 25 years, it was still a thought. It didn't happen. So my suggestion to Kuya Tony was, how about having a foundation, and we call it Tony Pizarro Philippine Center Foundation. Unfortunately, it got shut down for whatever reason. So, but still, for me, I mean, I'm sure you probably know more about Kuya Tony than I, but with the limited knowledge that I have on Kuya Tony, the only thing I could say is this. He is very patriotic. Not only to the United States, but also to the Philippines. Every time we talk, he will always say something about the Philippines. He will always say something about the Bayan Code. He will always say something about the benefit for the Filipino people, not only in the Philippines, but also here. So, anyway, I don't know if Kuya Tony wants to expand on that one, but anyway, I think if anybody wants to say something, maybe a Thanksgiving note for being here in the United States or being associated with Kuya Tony, the microphone is open. Anybody would like to do that? Anybody? Come on. Atenita, would you like to do it first? Anybody?
Did you want to say something?
Who?
Did you raise your hand?
Everybody?
Oh, okay.
Come on. We have plenty of community leaders here. Members. Okay, there you go.
It's a very simple story. The first time we went to breakfast with Uncle Tony, I don't golf, and I hear people who golf, it's pretty tough. And it was at the golf course at Admiral Baker, and so I decided to watch one golfer on the day I visited Uncle Tony with my wife, and the poor guy, he shot the ball, and it went like 45-degree angle to the side, hit a eucalyptus tree, and went back about 50 yards behind the first start. So I only watched one golfer that day, and it was Uncle Tony invited me over, and the pro golfer, I think it influenced his shot.
Okay, anybody else? We're just like
Did you ever golf?
maybe we're just posting a good one as
Did you
well.
ever golf, Uncle Tony?
Okay, anybody else? Come on, we have plenty of people over here. Well, if you have any project that is coming up, you would like to announce, this would be a good forum to do that. Okay, there you go.
Let me say two things. Earlier this morning, Tony said that he grew up in a poor family. So his goals, still not goals, yes. He said that he's not going to go back again to the Philippines with no money. That he's going to have the most expensive house. You can see it right here. About $17 million house. That he will have his kids going to the the priority schools like the Yale or Harvard, and I think that's also been done. But one thing that I wish that he will do, that one of his ultimate goals is go back to the Philippines and actually become the president of the Philippines. I think he can do it with all these things that he has done. I think it is possible that he can actually do it. So, I wish that he's got that as one of his ultimate goals. Thank you, Tony, for all the things that you did for everyone. Filipino community here, Filipino American community, as well as your project in the Philippines. The Gawad Kalinga, I believe is one of the things that you did over there. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you very much, Commander.
Our afternoon session. What I'd like to do next is we'll cut the cake outside the patio. Please join us for that, as well as have coffee after that. And I'm sure there's more things that you guys want to talk to me about for next year neighborhood affairs. But thank you all for coming. I'm so pleased with today's event. And thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po. Thank you. And happy birthday, Kuya Tony!
Happy birthday!